Hi there guys, it's Ray from C.Gars in Leeds, and today we have a very interesting session with a very special guest for me. Here in the lounge I'm with Ricardo Caroni, Chief Operation Officer of Tor, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people seen that face before, so you know very well who is there. Ricardo, how are we doing today?
Very good, thank you. Couldn't be better, and it's always a great pleasure to be with you in your beautiful lounge, in your gorgeous store, and it's always a pleasure to be in Leeds. But I'm especially excited for what we are going to do today. I've been waiting for this one for a while. I was trying to find the right time to get our times together and sit down and try a very special cigar, but also in a very special way. I think in a very genuine way, trying to learn the nomenclature and the way that cigar makers think and blend. And to do that, what we're doing today, we're going to be smoking the Serie V Melanio from Oliva, the Figurado, the Maduro. And we're going to do is, we have puritos or perritos, as we call them in Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and the cigar nations, are essentially the varietals, the original tobaccos, 100% the same kind of tobacco from different parts of the plant that actually are the core ingredients that are inside the cigar. This is the way, in my short learning career in the industry, and the biggest piece of advice that I've had from cigar makers is to really come back to basics, deconstruct a cigar, and try to understand the elements that make the cigar. And something I've always advocated for, as you know, it's not about a cigar tasting like something else. So tonight, what you and I, Ray, are going to do, we're going to smoke that Oliva and smoke two different parts of the plant from the Condega region. The same varietal, this is a Habano seed tobacco that is inside the Oliva cigar, then the Melanio, and what we have is we have the Viso, which is sort of the middle part of the plant, and we have the Seco, which is the other priming in the plant. So we're trying these two different parts. I can tell you that some of it is in that cigar. That cigar has some San Andres, has some Jalapa, and some Condega. So our task today is to really deep dive into the construction of the cigar and try to understand, memorize, and not forget the actual elements that make that cigar. Are you up to the task?
Oof, I'm very excited. I can't wait to start. So let's start and see what we're in.
Brilliant. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Right, we already lit the Melanio. It's a very interesting cigar, and the first impressions for myself, cigars start quite heavy, quite strong, with a lot of flavors, a lot of body as well. But that's what you expect from Maduro cigar, and especially with the San Andres wrapper. And yeah, it's looking forward to mix the other stuff and see what will be the outcast on that one.
No, definitely. I think the Serie V Melanio, this Maduro in a Figurados Vitola, I think it delivers indeed a lot of strength, but it does it in a very refined way. I think if just because of the type of Vitola, and I think the sweetness that it comes with the San Andres Mexican wrapper, I think to me balances it, makes it a very tasty type of cigar. Then combined with Jalapa and Condega, which are two of the other regions where tobaccos come from Nicaragua. So it's a lovely and very smart balanced blend. Again, bringing that sweetness of Jalapa, that's typically known for that sweetness of tobacco. You have Condega, which is a little bit more nuanced, gets a little bit of the Jalapa flavor, but also then it gets a little bit of the spiciness from Esteli. And then you wrap it up in a Mexican San Andres wrapper. Very smart. So what I'm looking forward, as you were saying now, is to go back to basics, deconstructing the cigar. And this all came to conversations that I have with cigar makers in Nicaragua, in Dominican Republic, and other cigar countries. And I can tell you a quick story that I had last time I was in the Dominican Republic. I was in Santiago de los Caballeros. I was there for the Pro Cigar event. And as I'm coming into the hotel, and I'm sitting there outside to have a cigar, I see a familiar face that waves at me, and it's Don Jose Blanco. Jose Blanco, well known in this industry, a man that I have the greatest respect for, and some of the best, most genuine and honest teachers of this industry, a man who's trying to transmit that knowledge. And after a long conversation, to end the conversation, he says to me, Ricardo, I want to give you an advice. As I see, so you're someone who really wants to learn. When you're enjoying a cigar, what you need to try to do is to smoke as many as you can of these puritos. This is a single origin varietal tobacco. So this is one of the components of a cigar. So he said, try to smoke as many of those single tobaccos. Try to memorize the flavor of that origin, so you know what the plant tastes like, but also within that as well, what part of the plant gives you different flavor profiles. So essentially, get that cigar deconstructed, which is what we're doing today. So this, for example, this is the Condega Viso. So this is sort of the middle part of the plant. There's also, we have the Seco, which is the bottom part of the plant, also of the Condega region from Nicaragua. So these are components of the cigar. So what we're gonna try to do is see if we can learn and memorize and understand the basic profile of that tobacco. Because one thing that always puzzled me as I started enjoying cigars, when people used to tell me, can you feel that chocolate? Can you feel that coffee? And I used to ask myself, if there's something wrong with me, because I cannot feel that. But now that I understand more and more that what we wish to do in the industry is to try to get people more and more to understand the terroir. Go back to the basics, go back to the origins, go back to the countries, and understand that when you smoke the cigar, you can actually start talking about the level of Condega that you can feel in there. Can you feel some of that Viso, or that Seco, or that Ligero from Jalapa? And this is the journey that we're in, my friend. We're gonna try to together go through the process of being able to understand and lock in these flavors of this beautiful Serie B Melanio. Are you up to it?
Yes, let's let the other ones.
Fantastic. Very good, right? So now we're on it. So what we need to try to do is get each one, give it a proper puff, and in fact, close your eyes if you can. Try to focus all your senses in your palate and your nose. So we're starting with the Seco from Condega. Let's give it a mindful. Just focus on this, nothing else. There's nothing around us. Lock that in. Back to the Oliva, the Melanio. And see, so like a detective work, if you can find that component, focus in it, so zoom on it, and in your head and your palate, try to take away what you don't identify in that flavor profile. So it's almost like you're navigating flavors in your nose and your mouth. You have to retro and see if you can find it. What do you think so far? I mean, this is one of your first puritos that you're smoking.
Yes, it's one of the first experiments I'm doing like that, and I can definitely find this one here. It's not, of course, it's not clear as that one. You know, that's pure Condega tobacco, but I can taste it here. It's in a small amount, so it's not like, wow, you're smoking from the Condega and it's like, wow, that's a Condega. It's not. There's a mix with other stuff, but it's like you mentioned, like if you eat in a let's say Lebanon dish and you find the saffron somewhere there, you know, like, you know, it's a little bit in there, but you found it. You know what I mean? If you're eating like spaghetti, Italian spaghetti, and you find the Parmesan, just a hint of Parmesan or Parmigiana, it's a very interesting one. You know, actually now I wanna literally put them both together and see.
I see your excitement, and this is it. We're like kids playing with something and discovering something, and this is the beauty of this. I mean, like every time you go with a whole different varietal and you go into the process, but this is it. I mean, it's kind of that detective work and picking up that hint of the flavor, and then you go back again to it. And it's there. You genuinely, you can feel it. You can feel it and you can taste it right there. It's incredible. But this is the beauty of it, and this is how a master blender, as they're looking at their pilones and they're working with their tobaccos, they will have 6 or 7 of these or 8 of these of different ones, and it's kind of identifying the core ingredients that are going to allow them to develop the blends. But it's like starting like mathematics. It's like building something. You have to start from the more basic structure. You have the idea, but you have to find the elements in the dish, in the blend, in the recipe that are going to take you to it. But it's delicious, isn't it? I mean, just by itself.
It's tasty.
I love it. I mean, now, take it easy, because yeah, it's one of those things. If you smoke too fast and too many of these, we'll have to take a bet and see who's going to come down first. Who's gonna be the
Beautiful.
last man standing?
Need to lit now the other one and see, compare that one as well.
Now we're gonna go. So we were tasting the Seco,
Yep.
bottom of the plant, the bigger leaves, great combustion, as you can tell. That's the most combustible part. So now we're gonna be moving into the next one, which is gonna be the Viso. In the midst between the Ligeros and the Secos, also from Condega. But I'll be curious if we can try to identify if we feel there's more or less of that ingredient. And I think what's gonna potentially surprise you is how different they are, or maybe how similar. So I'm curious to see what you think in terms. Two leaves next to each other, same plant, same farm, same varietal. Are they similar or different? So I look forward to seeing that and
Let's
tasting
try
it
it.
together. Perfect. Now we're smoking the Viso from the Condega tobacco, the Habano seed. It's what's always, it never ceases to surprise me how different the profile and the flavor of the tobaccos are, even within the same plant. And to me, there's one that's a little bit more prevalent than the other in the cigar. I've done this exercise before, but every time I do it, it just kind of surprises me a little bit more, and I try to understand it a little bit more. But Ray, what do you think? I mean, how do you find them different? The Viso from the Seco. What are your thoughts?
The Viso was wow flavors, wow everything there, creaminess, a lot of stuff. The Seco was full of flavors.
The first one, correct?
The Viso is way less flavors. You've got the main flavor, but it's not that full of flavors. You've got a little bit boring, if I can say it, and it's a little bit tasteless. So definitely the Seco is the one which give you a lot of flavors there. It's not that blunt. The Viso is a little bit more, again, it's a little bit more boring for me. And I think most likely is the Seco in the cigar, because I can feel that flavor in the cigar. The Viso is settled, it's not that interesting. Maybe if you put more Viso in the cigar, I don't know if that will work. If you put more Viso, we'll get more flavors, but literally the Viso is even the bigger cigar from both of them.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting you say that. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think that it's less more blend, but I think this is more distinctive.
yes.
So there's
Yes.
something a lot more distinct.
Yes, you can
about
definitely
the
say
Seco.
that is a jalapa tobacco.
That's a
it's
Condega.
That is a Condega tobacco.
Yeah.
The other one is like, okay, it's a good tobacco, but I don't know maybe what
It doesn't sing as prominently as the Seco. The Viso, you're right, it's a bit more subtle in the profile. I can feel a level of similarity. I mean, if you try a jalapa, you try an Esteli, definitely very, very different. But what fascinates me is that how, being so close, it is interesting that the Seco, I agree with you, the Seco jumps at me and it's more distinct. I can memorize it a lot faster, and as such, I can find it a lot more easier in the cigar. But like you say, it might be when you start looking at the amount that you have to use, because let's not forget, the Seco too is very combustible. So one of the, I think, key features of this cigar is that I haven't had to relit it once, and it's been lit all this time. So the combustion is extraordinary, and I think that we've been able to do. This is a question I'll make to the team in Oliva when I go see them in January for the Nicaraguan Cigar Festival for Puro Sabor, and see if we can do a little bit of detective work and find out if it's more the Seco or it's more the Viso that goes into there. So I'll sit down with the roller and the Bonchero and see if we can find our hypothesis and see if we actually, if it's the Viso that's more in it, or the Seco, or both, or just one of them. I don't have the answer, but I do have the question.
Interesting conception can be if actually they use both of them. So if they use for a binder, the Viso, which is more neutral, not that heavy on the flavors, give you again in the combustion and just cover everything, and you have the Seco in actually the filler.
Because I suppose in that way we'll fight less with the wrapper, with the San Andres.
Yeah.
You have it in the filler. You get the flavor, but you don't get it as a binder, which potentially could clash or create a different experience altogether. Again, these are all hypotheses. We're not master blenders. but it's just genuinely, I think, sharing our thoughts in how we see, how we're feeling. And this is the beauty of it. This is not a seminar teaching people how to blend.
It's just
This is the way, I think, to when you, if you were a baby and you go back in time and your parents make you this plate of pasta and you start eating just the tomatoes, and then you pick like that Parmesan cheese, then you get the pasta by itself and a little bit of basil, and you're kind of eating each component. And what I saw in your face is what I think my face will look like, is a sense of what the heck just happened to me, what has gone inside. And as you go back and forth, I go back to the same opinion. I agree with you. It's the most memorable one to me today for the Condega has been the Viso, I have to say. No, the Seco, the first one, the Seco.
Yes.
I always get it wrong.
Definitely.
Even with the little signs here on the side. I need to
Definitely,
put them
the
on the side.
Seco is interesting, and it was such a great opportunity for me. Thank you very much for the effort to come here, spending a day with me, and give me that opportunity to try actually what is a real puritos made from a specific type of leaf and specific region as well.
No.
Thanks again, and I hope we're gonna do that again with something different.
No, thank you, because at the end of the day, the industry and all of us part of it, we have this desire and obligation to teach, to learn from each other, and to share this knowledge, and never forget where the cigar comes from. Lounges and all the space is beautiful, and I appreciate that a lot. But if anything, our mission is to be able to remind people and teach people where it comes from and go back to basics. But thank you for today. Appreciate your openness and really enjoy doing this with you. I know I would. And I love the fact that it's not a cigar that you have smoked before, so I caught you by surprise on this one. So I love this. So look forward. The next time we can go into Jalapa if you wish. And we're going to the Jalapa side.
I would love that.
Look forward to the next one. Thank you very much, Ray.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. And that was another good session in Cigars and Leeds and with Ricardo. And stay tuned for more interesting sessions.